Assalamualaikum. This is Rokia Samia welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Government formed Judicial Inquiry Committee to investigate attack on Gono PARISHAD President Nurul, brief Press Secretary. No individual to be spared in attack on Nur. Justice to be delivered transparently and swiftly. Government statement. Government step save 14,000 crore taka in country's power and energy sector over past year. International Day of Victims of Enforced Disappearances observed today across country demanding justice for disappeared during fascist Army League. Israel presses Gaza City seizure. United Nations warns 1 million people could be displaced. And Bangladesh beat Chinese Taipei by 8-3 goals in Asia Cup Hockey Tournament at Bihar Sports University Hockey Stadium in India. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. The interim government has decided to conduct a judicial investigation into the attack on Gono PARISHAD President Nurul and leaders of the anti-discrimination student movement. Chief Advisor's Press Secretary Shafiqul Alam told these reporters in front of the Chief Advisor's residence, Jamuna, in the capital. Shafiqul Alam said the inquiry will be conducted under the leadership of a High Court judge to ensure impartiality and transparency. He said Chief Advisor inquired about the treatment of Nurul. The Press Secretary also said that the Chief Advisor will hold meetings with 3 political parties, BNP, Jamaat-e-Islami and NCP at Jamuna tomorrow. The meeting with BNP will be held at 3 p.m, while separate meetings with Jamaat and NCP will be held at 4:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. respectively. Discussions will focus on the current political situation and the upcoming national election, Shafiqul Alam said.
প্রধান উপদেষ্টার নেতৃত্বে একটি ইম্পর্টেন্ট মিটিং হয়েছে যমুনাতে। তো মিটিংয়ে বেশ কিছু সিদ্ধান্ত হয়। তার মধ্যে প্রথম সিদ্ধান্ত হচ্ছে যে কালকের যে ঘটনা ঘটলো, আপনারা জানেন গণ অধিকার পরিষদের প্রেসিডেন্ট নুরুলের উপরে ন্যাক্কারজনক একটা অ্যাটাক হয়। উনি অসুস্থ, ওনাকে খুব ঢাকা মেডিকেলে ওনাকে চিকিৎসা হচ্ছেন। তো এই ঘটনার উপরে একটি জুডিশিয়াল তদন্তের সিদ্ধান্ত হয়েছে এবং এই তদন্ত ইম্পার্শিয়াল জুডিশিয়াল তদন্তটা করবেন হচ্ছে একজন হাইকোর্টের জাস্টিসের নেতৃত্বে এই তদন্ত হবে। চিফ অ্যাডভাইজার ইনজুর্ড নূরকে ফোন দিয়েছিলেন। প্রথমে ওনার ওয়াইফ ধরেছিলেন, তারপরে নূরের সাথে কথা হয়েছে। উনি তার সমবেদনা জানিয়েছেন। উনি নূর এবং নূরের সহকর্মী যারা আহত হয়েছেন তাদের প্রতি সমবেদনা জানিয়েছেন। যারা গতকাল আহত হয়েছেন প্রত্যেকের বেস্ট পসিবল চিকিৎসার অ্যাসুরেন্স দিয়েছেন। বলেছেন যে এটার জন্য নূরের জন্য অলরেডি আপনারা দেখেছেন যে একটা মেডিকেল বোর্ড গঠন করা হয়েছে এবং অন্যান্য যারা ইনজুর্ড হয়েছেন সবাইকে যেন বাংলাদেশের সর্বোচ্চ সবচেয়ে ভালো চিকিৎসা পান সেটা ইনশিওর করার উনি বলেছেন। এবং উনি নূরকে বলেছেন যে এই ঘটনার জুডিশিয়াল তদন্ত হবে, উনি ওনাকে জানিয়েছেন। আর যদি প্রয়োজন হয় কারো চিকিৎসার জন্য সেক্ষেত্রে দেখা যাচ্ছে যে বাংলাদেশে থেকে বেটার বাইরে চিকিৎসার প্রয়োজন হলে তাকে বিদেশেও পাঠানো হবে, উনি এটা বলেছেন। মিটিংয়ের আর একটা ডিসিশন ছিল যে আগামীকাল কিছু রাজনৈতিক দলের সাথে আমাদের চিফ অ্যাডভাইজার বসবেন। বর্তমান পরিস্থিতি এবং ইলেকশন নিয়ে আলাপ আলোচনা হবে। আগামীকাল 3টার সময় বিএনপির সাথে মিটিং আছে, 4:30টায় জামাত এবং সন্ধ্যা 6টায় এনসিপি।
The interim government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh strongly condemns the brutal attack on Nurul Nur, the president of the Gono PARISHAD and a prominent leader of the July uprising, and also a tireless advocate of democracy, justice, and the rights of the people. Such acts of violence are an assault not only on Mr. Nur, but also on the spirit of the democratic movement that brought the nation together in its historic struggle for justice and accountability. The interim government assures the people of Bangladesh that a thorough and impartial investigation into this heinous incident will be conducted with utmost urgency. No individual, regardless of influence or position, will be spared from accountability. Justice will be delivered transparently and swiftly. In the immediate term, a specialized medical board has been formed to oversee the treatment of Mr. Nur and other injured members of his party. The government is committed to ensuring that they receive the highest standard of medical care. Should their conditions require it, they will be flown abroad for advanced treatment at state expense. The nation's prayers and solidarity remain with Nur, injured members of his party, and their families during this critical time. Mr. Nurul Nur played a historic role during the 2018 anti-quota protests against the fascist regime of Sheikh Hasina. As a student leader, he mobilized the youth, uniting diverse voices and standing fearlessly against injustice. He was arrested and brutally tortured in custody during the July uprising, when his role symbolized the collective aspiration of our people for a free, fair, and democratic Bangladesh. His courage and sacrifices will forever remain part of our nation's history. At this moment, the interim government calls for unity among all political and social forces that took part in the July uprising. This unity is essential to protect the gains of our struggle, to resist all conspiracies against the people's mandate, and to ensure our successful transition to democracy. Finally, the interim government reaffirms in the strongest possible terms that the national election will be held on time in the first half of February 2026. This is the solemn commitment of the interim government to the people of Bangladesh. All conspiracies, obstructions, or attempts to delay or derail the election will be firmly resisted by the interim government and our democracy-loving patriotic people. The people's will shall prevail, and no evil force will be allowed to undermine our march to democracy. Nurul Nur, president of Gono PARISHAD, who was under treatment at the ICU of Dhaka Medical College Hospital, has regained consciousness. However, he is still not out of danger, said Dr. Zahid Raihan of the Neurosurgery Department. Meanwhile, Dhaka Medical College has formed a 6-member medical board for Nurul Nur's treatment. Leaders of BNP and other political parties also visited Nurul Nur at Dhaka Medical College today. BNP, Jamaat Islami, NCP, Islami Andolon, and several other political parties strongly condemned the attack on him. Regarding the violence and casualties from the clash between two political parties in Kakrail, ISPR said in a statement that law enforcement was forced to use force to maintain public safety. 5 army personnel were injured in the incident. On Friday evening, sudden tension broke out in Kakrail. A clash erupted when a procession of Gono PARISHAD passed in front of the Jatiyo Party office. Several people, including Nurul Nur, were seriously injured during the clash. The interim government has saved more than 14,000 crore taka in the country's power and energy sector over the past year. In addition, savings were made through several measures: 308 crore 13 lakh taka from contracts with Petrobangla and Oman-based Trading Limited, $350 million from forming a consortium with foreign banks, 240 crore 40 lakh from the purchase of stone blasting explosives, and 640 crore 71 lakh taka from an agreement with Khobor. Petrobangla chairman said that the largest savings came from tender processes, amounting to over 7,000 crore taka. He added that three key factors contributed to the overall success in cost reduction. Energy experts, however, cautioned that cost savings alone are not enough to bring about fundamental reforms. They emphasized that all ways of looting and misappropriation left behind by the previous government must be closed to ensure real change. Until 5th of August last year, the ousted Awami League government had turned the energy sector into a hotspot of corruption and plunder. During the Awami League's tenure, indemnity laws, syndicate control, and tenderless contracts were rampant in the power and energy sector. Such irregularities facilitated institutional as well as personal crimes in the sector. Today marks the 15th International Day of the Victims of Enforced Disappearances. In December 2010, the United Nations adopted the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance at its conference, declaring August 30 as the day to remember victims of enforced disappearance. To observe the day, MyDuck, an organization of families of disappeared persons, along with several human rights groups, has arranged different programs. Meanwhile, a roundtable discussion was held today at a hotel in the capital to mark the day. The event was jointly organized by the Commission of Inquiry on Enforced Disappearances and the UN Commission on Justice and Human Rights. The discussion included law advisor Dr. Asif Nurul, industrial advisor Adili Rahman Khan, chief of mission of the UN Commission on Justice and Human Rights Huma Khan, chief prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal Tajul Islam, along with families of the disappeared and human rights defenders. The session was presided over by Justice Moinul Islam Chaudhry, chairman of the Disappearance Commission, while the keynote paper was presented by Commission member Dr. Nabil Idris. Speakers stressed the importance of ensuring justice and accountability for enforced disappearances and killings, while also calling for effective measures to prevent such incidents in the future. Memories of Disappearance, a photography exhibition portraying the inner struggles of families of those who have been subjected to enforced disappearances over the past 17 years. The exhibition, featuring photographs by photojournalist Mushfiqur Rahman Johan, has been organized by the platform MyDuck. It began on August 22 at Manikmi Avenue in Dhaka and will continue until 9 p.m. on August 31. According to IO Shalish Kendro, 384 people remain missing to this day. The Commission on Disappearances has also stated that the number of the disappeared exceeds 300. Through Johan's camera lens, the stories of these families spanning 15 to 16 years have been brought to light, covering their protests, their struggles, and the media's reporting on them. Visitors to the exhibition remarked that victims and their families are entitled to justice, compensation, and rehabilitation. They stressed the need for exemplary punishment of those responsible for enforced disappearances and called for effective measures to prevent such human rights violations in the future. Now, international news. Israel says its planned seizure of Gaza City is progressing, as the UN's Agency for Palestinian Refugees warned that the operation could redisplace 1 million people. Gaza's health ministry has recorded 5 deaths due to famine and malnutrition in the past 24 hours, including 2 children, bringing the total number of hunger-related deaths to 322, including 121 children. At least 67 Palestinians, including children and aid seekers, have been killed since dawn in Israeli attacks across Gaza, including several in the Al-Mawasi area, a so-called humanitarian zone designated by Israel in the south. Israel has killed at least 63,025 people and wounded 1,59,490 in its war on Gaza. Russia and China have conducted their first ever joint submarine patrol in the Pacific, according to reports in state-run media. The patrol by diesel-electric submarines began in early August, and the Russian sub involved, the Volkov, covered around 2,000 miles during its voyage from its Vladivostok base, according to a statement from the Russian Pacific Fleet. The submarines patrolled in the Sea of Japan and the East China Sea, the statement said. China has not confirmed the patrol, but the state-run Global Times mentioned it in a report Wednesday. Citing the Russian reports, China and Russia have been stepping up military cooperation in the past several years. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has rejected proposals for a buffer zone between Ukrainian and Russian forces as part of a peace deal, arguing it does not reflect the realities of modern warfare. Only those who do not understand the technological state of today's war propose a buffer zone, he told reporters on Friday. His comments followed a report suggesting European leaders were considering a 40-kilometer buffer zone as part of either a ceasefire or longer-term agreement. The war in Ukraine has evolved into a conflict driven by drone technology, and Zelensky suggested a buffer zone of sorts already existed because of the threat of drone strikes close to the front line. Now, sports news. Hockey. Bangladesh shrugged off their previous match defeat as they beat Chinese Taipei by 8-3 goals in their second Pool B match of the 8-team Men's Asia Cup Hockey held at Bihar Sports University Hockey Stadium in India. Bangladesh took the lead early through a field goal when Mohammad Abdullah opened an account for Bangladesh in the 4th minute, but the lead lasted for a few minutes when Sung Yu restored the parity for Chinese Taipei, also from a field goal in the 10th minute of the match. In the second quarter, Chinese Taipei took the lead when Sung Yu scored his second goal in the 18th minute, converting a penalty corner, but Bangladesh staged a fight back in the match when Abdullah scored his second field goal in the 26th minute of the match. Bangladesh scored 4 goals in a span of 9 minutes. Shohanur put Bangladesh ahead, scoring the third goal, converting a penalty corner in the 36th minute. Rakibul Hassan scored 2 field goals in the 42nd minute, and Ashraful Islam made the score line 6-2, converting a penalty corner in the 45th minute of the match.